up and sit down.
Hi guys, I'm Dodge. This is Big Mac's Workshop and Paint Studio, and this video was sort of encouraged by everybody in the Banter and Brushes video talking about the conversions and how happy they were that I'd be getting back on with those. So this video, I thought I'd chuck it together for the weekend, give you something to watch over the weekend, and also let me share some ideas with you. I have a bunch of new ideas that I really want to work on, but before that, the reason this video is called Conversions Old and New is because we're going to have a look at the old stuff, and as those who watch the Banter and Brushes will know, I'm dedicating most of this year now to finishing conversions off and getting them painted for you because you guys keep asking for it. So, with that in mind, let's have a look at the old models first, and I'll let you know when I'm finishing and what I'm going to do with them. Then we'll talk about these new projects, which I really need your feedback for. So, first off, the Nurgle Demon Prince. As you can see here, I've been adding some extra green stuff on there, and I'm going to smooth some of those bits out, add a little bit of extra work, and he should be getting painted on Monday onwards, so he should be out in another week after this. Hopefully, that's the plan. There's no reason I shouldn't have it done in that amount of time. Basically, it'd be nice to see him painted. Everyone keeps asking for it, so why not just do that? I mean, converting for me is one of my favourite parts of the hobby anyway. So I'll start the year by painting this guy up and getting him finished. Now, while we're on the subject of Nurgle and Death Guard, the old tank's going to get some work done on it this year. Definitely. A bunch of people asking about that as well. And as you can see, I did do some more work on that. Started putting an extra mouth around that gun, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into a Plague Bearer style head on the side, and then blend the top of its eyes into the back of the tank, into all the other weird detailed bits. But that will not be getting painted till much later in the year, as we're starting the year with the Death Guard paint scheme. So it kind of makes sense. It works out well with the Nurgle Demon Prince, as Death Guard are getting new releases over this weekend anyway, so that works out well for us. And before we go any further into any more chaos, I have not given up on the Typhonaut project. That's my personal project, and it will be getting finished, and it will be superb when it's finished, because I'm a perfectionist, and when it comes to my own stuff, it's got to be perfect. So after I've done the Demon Prince painting tutorial, and then I'll throw in another painting tutorial probably, then I'll be going back to some of the conversions, possibly that Land Raider. So I'll definitely be doing some more on this Typhonaut. The next section for him will be the torso section. Really looking forward to that, as it's going to add some posture to the model, and I can't wait to start putting the arms and the other detail work on there. Really enjoying that project, and hopefully one day I hope to have that painted and throw that into Golden Demon. Now, back onto the chaos, because this is just a quick one. If you guys remember Fabius Bile, he is pretty much finished. All he needs here is a little bit of milliput, a little bit of smoothing off and sanding in places, make sure it's nice and neat. And the reason I want to get him done and painted is because he's an inspiration for the next lot, the new models that I'm really looking forward to converting. So, a while back, before there was any new rules for Fabius Bile, me and Andy were discussing making a Man Reaper army. As anyone who has listened to the Fabius Bile audiobooks, or read the books, knows his ship is absolutely full of weird gribbly creatures, so we thought we'd make a possessed theme army for Fabius Bile. And I'm going to throw up a video here of some of the possessed I already made, and basically we'd convert all the parts so the possessed look like enhanced super soldiers that Fabius Bile's made, but still look possessed in a Slanesh kind of way. And we'd also make some spawns, as we're going to use the possessed style rules with Fabius. Now, according to Andy, from what I'm hearing, possessed have finally got a buff on their stats, and they're straight 4 attacks. If you enhance those with Fabius Bile, they could be extremely dangerous on the table. So I'll be using the old models, because they're made from the Forsaken kit, as you can see. Forsaken kit and the Possessed kit. Now this is finally leading us on to the new models. The Possessed kit, it sucks. It's 25 quid, it's £5 a model. It is so dated, and so what I need your feedback on here, guys, actually, is I'm going to make some spawns for Fabius's army, and I'm going to make some Possessed. I can't use the Forsaken kit anymore, because if you're lucky enough to find one, it's about $100 shipped from America, unopened, and it's just not feasible anymore, although that was the best bits box for making Possessed, especially to a Space Marine scale. So, I'm going to make Possessed or Spawn. And what I'm going to do, because both the Spawn, which is, they work out £15 a model from Games Workshop, which is terrible, seeing as they're so cheap on the battlefield. I want to be running units of 5 minimum. And with the Possessed, I want to be running 4 units of those as well, and I don't fancy paying that much for those either, especially with the way that they look. Both models, sets of models, not good looking, overpriced. So this year I'm going to work on figuring out how to make either a bunch of spawns at less than £15 a model. I want to get 5, so they work out about a tenner a piece, hopefully, and I want to get as many Possessed as I possibly can as well for under £5 a model, or £5 a model, depending on how good we can make them look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw up some images, and we're going to discuss a bunch of ideas that I've had. In this video, don't expect the maths to be correct, it's just a rough estimate of how much you would end up spending per model. But I've got some ideas that will get these models down really, really cheap. So I looked at a lot of models when it came to spawns, and most models that are going to be big enough, as the spawns are on a 50mm, gives you plenty of workspace. But yeah, a lot of models of that size end up being about a tenner a piece anyway. We want 5 spawns for as cheap as possible. Now, I do like the look of the Crypt Flayers as a start body piece. Also, the trolls, the Fellwater Troggoths, they're kind of cool. Storm Fiends, the Rat Ogre things, they could work for Fabius quite well, but again, they're going to be at least a tenner a piece, so that'll be 50, and that's just that kit without any converting work. Do want to kit bash these together. Again, the Fiends are quite expensive. The Castellan Droculans, now they'd be kind of cool, but again, we're trying to make something that looks like Fabius Bile would have made them, so there'd be some kind of humanoid creature. Flesh Hounds could work, at least the heads, or the Bloodstalkers. See, I'm mixing up fantasy and 40k here. They're just some of the models I'm looking at right now to make some Chaos Spawn. I could potentially just make an armature and sculpt something, but that's not going to help you guys. I want you guys to be able to follow along with what I'm doing and think to yourself, you want a bunch of spawns, but oh, I'll spend this much and get this many spawns, or I'll spend this much and get this many Possessed, and you'll know exactly how to build them and put them all together, because we'll all be using the same kit. So the Bloodstalkers did inspire me a bit. See, what I also noticed for spawns was Ogrins are quite a beastie size. Ogrins and Ogres from Fantasy. Now, what I did start to look at was the Slave Ogre gang from Necromunda. They're supposed to be 50 quid on element 42, and you get 6 of those. So that's 6 at 42. That's under a tenner a model. We can still spend a bit more and increase those, at least the look of them anyway. But then, you know, to keep things really cheap, there was the Gutbuster Ogres, which I haven't noted the price down for, unfortunately. They're cheap for 6. It gives us a nice torso to work with. If I could find something to put underneath them, because the legs don't look right, and enhance their backs with, and their arms with tentacles and other detailed works, I think we could make some hybrid Slanesh looking creatures there. Also, they were cheap enough to, if I remember, to buy some Chaos Warhounds, or some dire wolves and start attaching those heads, fur and flesh bits to them to give them some weird dual heads. And because you get 10 dire wolves, you'll be able to give them multiple heads. Could be interesting. Now, the options for spawns are actually quite limited unless you're going to start buying them in bulk. So, moving on to the possessed, because these seem to get cheaper the more that you buy. I wanted them to be about Space Marine scale, and to do that with the bodies and have pipes and things running through them as Fabius Bile would do to enhance things, and there'll be all sorts of nice details added on there anyway that we can all sculpt together quite easily. I'll try and keep them as simple as possible. But the Bloodbound Blood Reavers was where I was going to start, as that's 20 models. 20 models, and Element Games I can get those at $29.75, so that's nice and cheap per model. So after that I was looking for some legs that could make them look Space Marine scale. This is where the budget starts to go a bit off, and it's the budget on here with these new videos I want to make that is making this very awkward, which is why I'm bouncing some ideas off you guys. The old Berserker models, I know they're not that great, but they do have Space Marine legs, and you get 12 of those at £25.50 off Element. So that plus the other is actually quite cheap. You could buy 2 sets of those and get yourself an entire 20 of these. But then they just look like the tops are stuck to the legs, and there's no extra details without doing loads and loads of sculpting. So again, going to have problems there with those parts. So for Possessed, I also looked at a bunch of Necromunda stuff, the Goliath gang and the Corpse Grinder gang. Oh, sorry, the Corpse Grinder cult. They do look like they would work, and they're quite large scale. Again, I may have to buy some Chaos Space Marine legs or something along those lines to change those up until I can think of something else. So generally I'm just running down these ideas with you. I want to know which one you want to see first, so I can focus my attention just on the one while I think about this. This will be a project for about mid-year, considering all the work I've got back there that we've just seen to get on with. So it'll be about mid-year this video will come out, but I want to make it really good and one that everyone else can just grab some boxes off the shelf and build as many spawns and as possessed as they want. As this is just a weekend video, guys, I'm going to leave that there. I hope it's got the creative juices flowing on some of you and you've got some ideas. So I'm going to give a big thank you to our patrons, because without these patrons I wouldn't be able to buy any of these models to do these conversions, or me and Andy wouldn't be able to make these videos for you. These guys, you really do help us out a lot. If you want to join Patreon, links are in the description, as well as an affiliate link for Element Games. So a big thank you to the Alt Boys, Matt, Ludwig Hofbauer, DWAC, Mark, Dave, Tom, Spiky Dude, Ben and White Metal Games. You guys are our top paying patrons. You guys are awesome. We really couldn't do this without you. And if you want to start buying any of these models that I mentioned at those lower prices, follow our affiliate link in the description and go to Element Games, and Element Games will give us store credit, which is great because it helps us even more to get more models, to do more videos for you guys. Well, that's all for me for this weekend. I'll be working on the Nurgle Demon Prince on Monday, and it should be out by next Monday hopefully. So thanks for watching, guys. I shall catch you in the next one.